Very much, Crystal. During the annual legislative session, it actually is beginning today. In fact, during the next 60 days, lawmakers will consider hundreds of bills.
Also trying to reach an agreement on a state budget that will top $80 billion. Channel 4's Kent Justice joins us now from Tallahassee. Kent, you and I were talking about this session just yesterday, and I think the word contentious came up.
Right, because a lot of people who are watching this already see the signs that it could be a very contentious legislative session. Governor Scott is going to be speaking today at 11 o'clock and giving kind of his state of the state address. We'll talk about what he wants to talk about, but we know that he is opposed by other Republicans, specifically the Speaker of the House. That's going to be a contentious thing throughout these 60 days. Here's what we expect from Governor Scott today when he addresses a joint session for the Senate and the House of Representatives here in Florida, that he's going to be pushing ahead on his priorities. What do we know about Governor Scott? Every time he gets a chance to talk about his priorities, they are jobs, they are jobs, and they are jobs. So he's going to talk about that, and that's part of the contention that we may see here. Enterprise Florida, which brings businesses to the state, allegedly, and Visit Florida, which brings tourists. All those things bringing jobs. Those are kind of on the chopping block here in the legislative session. He's also going to talk about the tragedies that Florida has endured in this past year, from Zika to the Pulse nightclub shooting to what happened at the Fort Lauderdale airport, even to Hurricane Matthew. He's going to talk about these things that have happened here in Florida and how the state has been resilient, but that Governor Scott says we need to keep pushing forward. And there's a hint in the excerpts from his speech that we've received so far that he may want to try and introduce some legislation that would prevent tax raises in the future. We don't know entirely what that's going to look like. There's just a hint of that in the speech that we've seen so far. But this is the kind of thing that we're going to be following for you today. 9:30 is when the Senate convenes and legislative session gets off and running. Live in Tallahassee, Kent Justice, Channel 4, the local station.
Ken, thank you. By the way, the governor's State of the State address streaming live at 11 o'clock on news4jax.com.